Welcome to the budget workshop meeting for October 23rd, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming. I'm going to ask everybody to take, obviously, their time tonight and present everything they want, but I'm going to ask a huge request that we make sure we stay 100% focused on topic, on the agenda, so we can get out of here at a reasonable time, preferably before the ninth inning. Plymouth Fire Company is up first.
So, you guys want to come up to the table? Who's ever?
Yeah.
I have a couple seats up here for you.
Stand over here.
Or sit.
You said.
Sit, however you like.
Plymouth Fire Company, I'm Adam Heffelfinger, President of Fire Company. Deputy Chief Frank Kaliniak Jr. and Jack Kaliniak, the Treasurer, which will give our report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a real quick things. Our fire chief, my son John Horniak Jr., couldn't be with us today. He's got a work-related project that he has to, he's a police officer in Tredyffrin Township, as some of you may or may not know. With us tonight is Deputy Fire Chief Frank Kaliniak. Yeah, that's another Kaliniak. It's the family business, I think.
He's always been my favorite one.
What's that?
He's always been my favorite one.
Me? Him. Let's say I can't be. I'm too old. So you've had our budget presentation for a little while now. Of course, we'll entertain your questions. I guess we really want to speak from the the financial request section, which is the end of the budget presentation. And there are several major areas. The first one, of course, the career firefighters and our need for additional. I'm going to let Frank talk to that.
What you'll see here broken down, I guess, is really in the two parts. Our main proposal really is to add a third member of the staff during the workday hours from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Most volunteer companies, you can imagine, struggle outside or inside, the working hours with most of its members, including volunteers like myself, at their day jobs. We currently have 2 employees. We gave some history in the report of how long they've been with us. They're also officers of the company. Adding a third, if you kind of think about it, of staffing right now with 2 members in the daytime, it really only allows you 1 operator and 1 firefighter at any given time. We know that there's going to be some increased challenges here in the coming years with the project on Ridge Pike and getting mutual aid. And although we've recently worked with a number of our mutual aid companies to increase our response in district to have more firefighters on scene in a quicker period of time, our concern is that we'll only have 2 for quite a prolonged period of time during this construction, along with the Harmonville Fire Company for most alarms during the day. Having 3 personnel would allow us to adequately staff an engine, as most companies are defining in our mutual aid partners, as well as their response districts. They have a minimum response of 3 qualified personnel. And of course, if we have volunteers during the daytime, that will help increase our staffing to perform the duties of engines and ladder companies arriving on scene of structure fires or other incidents. To do this, we would add a third full-time employee, as well as change the staffing to 4 10-hour days, and we have a schedule breaking out there too, so that they will kind of supplement each other on different off days during the week, as well as supplemented with additional part-time staff that would fill in the off days so that we can continue to have 3 members at all times during the week, from Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Under the career firefighter section of the proposal, you'll see the breakdown, what we've done for benefits. Obviously, the township covers most of the health insurance. We also provide them with some retirement benefits, as well as some other insurance benefits, life insurance, as well as disability. We instituted the Simple IRA retirement program a couple of years ago, and that's been going pretty well with the two current full-time. It's only available to full-time firefighters. So the part-time PRN, as we call it, as needed, guys that fill in for vacation and off days and things like that, are not participating in that program. The schedule that Frank was talking about is also in that section. It shows the 5 10-hour days, the coverage, there's 3 basic schedules. And of course, it really means that there's going to be 3 open shifts each week that has to be covered by part-time firefighters. And we recently, Fire Chief instituted a number of new PRNs onto our schedule, people that are available, and basically they're hired because of their availability, not just because they want to be a firefighter. If they can't work, no sense having them, obviously. So that's our situation with the career firefighters. Any questions at this point on that?
Is the increase in salary, I think you said was 3%?
Yeah,
Is that
we're
covering
hoping.
the extra
I'm
2
sorry.
hours? Does that cover the extra 10 hours a week, or?
No, that's just for the the funds we're looking for obviously cover the third firefighter as well as the part-timers. Okay, that's what's in there, okay? That goes under this, it's under the section of the financial request. As far as the salary increase for the current 2 full-time firefighters, we don't meet the salary of some of our other municipalities in the area. I mean, we can't pay as much as Norristown, Upper Merion, Lower Merion, okay? So we're trying to get them as close as possible before we wind up with a union situation, as most of the other municipalities have, okay? That would cause other problems. And
What's the difference in the salary between us, say, and King of Prussia?
40, 50,000.
well, not per person, they'd probably
Just start
make,
at 90.
some of them do. I mean, I would say on average that the other firefighters get at least 20, 25 more a year than our
Starting
current ones
salary,
do.
right? Yeah.
Are they municipal employees?
Pardon me, yes, they are.
Oh, they're municipal employees.
Okay, that's the big thing. Of course, I've been with an organization before that was volunteer, and the employees went unionized, caused a lot of headaches. But that was in EMS, not in career firefighting. Still, it causes a bit of a problem, you can imagine. We're looking to increase the current full-time employees by 5% this year. Try to get them, as close as we can to the other companies in the area. I mean, I think even they know that they're not going to get. I mean, I know they were at one time, were asking, like, could they become municipal employees? I said, well, that's out of our jurisdiction. We can't tell you you can be municipal employees. That'd be up to the township. As far as I know, they've made no requests or anything to the township for a situation like that at this point. So.
Just for clarification, Jack, you can let them know that Plymouth ambulance.
I'm sorry?
Just for clarification, let them know that was the Plymouth ambulance that you were with.
It wasn't Plymouth ambulance.
Plymouth ambulance has no union.
No, they do not. That is correct. Tom is correct. I envy him. I did envy him. I don't know the answer. I'm not in that business anymore. I'm retired. Let's put it that way. But it was a harrowing situation because you don't know what's going to happen under a union situation, obviously. Okay. Again, with the under the financial request section, we have a new vehicle scheduled for delivery March, September of next year. It's been pushed back several times. The original date on the equipment was March of 24. It's now back to September of 24. And I'm still not confident, Fire Chief's not confident, that it won't be pushed back a little further, but I think September of 2024 is probably a lot better to bank on than even later than that. Because at some point, if it gets too late, then the manufacturer suffers some penalties. So I think September will be the day it's delivered. Now, Cost of that vehicle is $907,000, and that is not an aerial ladder, and you'll see the prices under the fire apparatus replacement plan. They're going through the roof. I believe Norristown just ordered one that was almost $2 million. That was an aerial truck. This is what they're costing. This is plain and simple. I mean, the truck that we're talking about is basically a pumper with some extra compartments to handle the rescue equipment, because you notice from the proposal, this new truck is going to replace 2 of our trucks. We're going to be selling our current rescue as well as our current engine. And actually, the rescue may be sold by the end of the week. Much quicker than we thought it would. We've sold trucks before, and they sat on the market for months and months. So far, it looks like we may get lucky and sell this thing right away. So,
Is there any risk to selling that before you have the new one in here?
no, there are some rescue tools that we will put on the other trucks, okay? Not as extensive as what the rescue truck had, but there will be rescue capabilities. Plus, I know our fire chief is already making, plans to use assist companies. I mean, we still, there's still 2 fire companies in the township. So if we need rescue capabilities, certainly we will call on Harmonville and other companies in the area, Conshohocken. I mean, these are all companies that we assist a lot ourselves right now.
Operationally, no. Our plan is to mimic the capabilities we have today on our existing apparatus as part of this downsizing effort, and as well as minimizing duplicate equipment that Harmonville has. So we'll be able to pretty much continue our capabilities. We'll have to utilize some mutual aid automatically on certain technical rescue calls that this truck used to perform, but we're downsizing in our capabilities based off our district, which is a lot more vehicle rescue and accident, which is why we moved to a rescue pumper. And our current engine will serve in that capacity with those additional tools until this new rescue pumper arrives.
As far as the rescue pumper is concerned, we are looking contractually to pay $14,442 up front, not up front, but for 90 days prior to the final inspection, and that will give us a discount of $12,870. We'll save that amount by putting that up 90 days before the final inspection. So that'll reduce the 907 down to 800 and whatever. Do the math real quick. Okay, that fund we look to be getting that funding from our township capital account. That's where we believe that we want the 414 to come from. We anticipate we'll be taking a little more out of that account after the 414, but certainly we don't want to wipe the whole thing out, which brings us to a main request here with the truck. We're looking for the township to help us secure financing in the amount of $250,000, preferably something like a 10-year term. Obviously, we're the financing that comes through the manufacturers is bad. We once took a loan from the manufacturer and we paid plenty of penalties because we wanted to pay it off early. They give you a loan for 15 years. They want you to pay it for 15 years, period. You pay it off early, they charge you more. So that was a bad situation for us. But that was other administration, of course, at the time. So that's where we're asking the township to help us and get that, because us going to a bank, we don't have income. Our income is you. Okay? So it'd be better if we work together on financing as far as that concerned, because we don't want to drain all of our resources. I mean, in theory, if we take all of our money and pay for the truck, we could. But that would not be a great idea to wipe out everything we have, resource-wise and, reserve-wise, because there are some smaller trucks over the next few years in our truck replacement plan that we need money for, and we're hoping we'll be able to have the cash on hand to pay for those and not even take it out of the township fund at this point. That's the way we're planning. Question on that, or any questions on truck delivery, financing, etc.?
So the bottom of that page, it sounds like the total request is 128.5. It says 2022. I assume if that's just a typo, it's not a big deal. I just want to make sure that the 128.5
believe
doesn't
that's-
carry over from 2022.
I believe that
as
is
well.
the typo, yes.
Okay, I think this is, but the 128.5 is,
Is the total of the.
Total of the money
I
we're
just
going
want
to
to make
need.
sure that didn't get carried over in 2022.
No.
Okay, thank you.
128.5 not including the 250.
Well, I think the 128 is just a total of
The
the,
other items on the top.
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
other items.
This part.
right, I believe that's the 128, yes.
The 250 is separate.
That's separate, oh yeah, we're looking for a loan there, that's got nothing to do with
So that
appropriations.
125 is an increase in appropriation.
That's what we're hoping for, in order to meet all those requests, in order to basically fund the employees, their salary, and the new employees.
The numbers above.
Yes,
Correct,
yes.
that's correct.
Thank
I-
you.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's a little confusing there.
That's all, yes. I'm good as-
The other, last year, council was good enough to increase the amount that they put aside each year in the capital account, which is primarily used for fire apparatus purchases. And you can see from the 10-year plan what the costs are. 107,000 sounds like a lot, but when the trucks are now, even the pumper's going to be $1 million. Okay, you figure ours is 900. I think Harmonville was 800 and something, if I'm not wrong. But you get the point. The increases are in fire truck prices are going up 10, 15% a year. So, you know, when you're waiting, I mean, I think both fire companies have been pretty good at balancing, you know, and trying to extend the life of their trucks as much as you can. But they are very expensive to maintain. So the longer you keep them, while you don't have to buy the new one, you are paying a lot of money. I mean, some of the bills to the manufacturer who has to work on the truck, you can't take your truck to a simple garage all the time. I mean, if we can take it to some local people for oil change and, you know, things like that, okay? But when it's because it's a custom-made vehicle, the parts are custom-made. So, of course, you've got to take it back to Pierce, who's the manufacturer. Not to mention the fact that there are way less manufacturers now competing against each other in the fire truck business than there used to be back in my heyday, if you will. Okay, there was a time there was dozens of them across the country. Now there's only a handful. So they're pretty much seller's market, if you will, at this point. So what we're hoping is that the township will continue to look at that based on the cost of these things, and continue to fund the capital program for both fire companies at a much higher level. I mean, those funds, of course, are kept with the township until they're needed. We understand, certainly I understand the cash flow, situation, that you need plenty of time, because I'm sure that these funds are invested and they're not necessarily available the next day for, carrying the written check to us, okay? So, we'll work with the township on, plenty of notice as to what we need from that fund. And Kellen has been very good with letting us know what those totals are and keeping us abreast of the fund. So basically, the way the future is going of the fire service, we're basically asking for increased levels of funding. I think we've been very good at managing our day-to-day operational funding. We have one employee who does a great job of purchasing parts, things like that, online. You'd be surprised how much cheaper it is to get that than going, like if we need something for the station, that's cheaper than going over to Home Depot or Lowe's. It's plain and simple. They're not cheap. Online purchasing has saved us a good bit of money. We'll continue to look for any avenue we can to save money, of course, as far as our day-to-day operational expenses are concerned. So at this point, I'll throw it open to you all with questions. You have the proposals, you've got the facts and figures. What do you want to know from us?
You've answered the questions I had, so I don't have any additional.
I don't think I have any questions. You guys did a nice job of explaining everything in here, so it helps a lot.
I've been doing this for a long time.
You know how to write for lay people, right?
What's that?
You know how to write things for lay people like me.
Well, I look at it like, you know, I've been there a long time, I know all the technical terms, and like I said, you know, it's kind of the family business. My nephew's a deputy fire chief, my son's the fire chief, okay? It's, my daughter was, you know, our secretary for 15 years and was the only certified female firefighter we've ever had. But she's 47 years old now, my oldest daughter, and she's retired from firefighting. Okay, so you know volunteers are hard to get. I'm not gonna, you know, that's the last thing I want to tell you. It's not easy.
How's that, because I know that's been ongoing for quite a few years.
It's not looking any better.
So it's not
Okay,
improved.
it's not.
We are working on a number of different avenues for recruitment and retention. I think our biggest strength is on retention and how we treat our volunteers, bring them in, orient them into our organization, and try to keep those members that we do get, although a lot of them are family members, like President or the Treasurer was talking about, but we do a lot of in-house programs like a banquet or various kind of things like you know, like these types of shirts and outfitting and providing training to our members. So that is really our best avenue is once we do recruit is retention. So we have a Facebook page, so there's so many other fire companies that try to recruit new members and reach out through networks and people moving into the area, but it has been slow.
Let me just ask you a blunt question, if I may, which you can choose to answer or not choose to answer. Now that I've been doing this for enough years, you know you're not getting everything you ask for ever.
We understand.
So if you could tell us like what is the, you know, number one priority, and whether that be like sort of a theme overall or whether that be a specific item that's on.
There are two, we've tried to hit hard on the two items that affect the Plymouth Fire Company, and that is the career firefighter situation. Because volunteers, I mean, you know, as Frank alluded to, the current situation of only 2 people on a truck during the daytime, and daytime's tough. Okay, we're no longer in, you know, when I first joined the Plymouth Fire Company, you were shift work. You had plenty of people, you know, especially with the businesses and industry along the river back then, okay? You had people at second shift, third shift. That wasn't a problem back then. Now, everybody's a day work person. Day's the toughest. And we're putting only 2 people out there. And if one's on vacation, and we can't get one of those PRN part-timers, and most of those PRN part-timers have other jobs. Some are firefighters elsewhere that will come work for us on their day off. So that's one of the big problems. We really need that third
Yeah,
firefighter.
If I were to tell you what my priority would be, it would be adding that third employee. And not only is that for the downturn of some volunteers, but also just the stress in everyday work life that they all experience. You all know that full well, going to your day jobs and then getting a fire call at 6 in the morning and trying to perform that duty as well as get to work on time. So on that end and helping our volunteers, it helps us there, but also for the safety of our employees. Having 2, or if we do have one out, we can't fulfill with one person on a truck is just not a safe situation. It goes against a number of recommendations of the NFPA as well as just our regionalized operating group with the area fire companies. We're really trying to put a minimum staff, and having a third full-time employee would really help us accomplish that. We all recognize increasing costs in everything today. In my day job, I'm in the electrical industry, everything's up, lead times are out, so we know that. It's on us to continue to look at our expenses and be scrappy and look at where we can save, and part of that goes with downsizing the 3 apparatus and merging the 2 into something that's more suited for us. So we can look at our operating expenses. The biggest help, in my opinion, and I'm biased because I am on the operational side, is to have that third employee.
I mean, not to take away from the capital funding going forward. That's always going to be a long-term problem. Okay, and we're trying to keep away from a full-time career staff as long as we can, because there are problems associated with that too, as you would not know. But we do need more help during the day. Frank's right; he's 100% right.
Appreciate that.
Does that pair as a must-have then with the additional part-time employees? So if you have 3
Yeah.
full-timers, then you have to have the additional PRN.
Having the additional, you can see with that coverage chart, it would help us most of the time. It would leave us with just 2 employees on those 3 gap days. Having the additional part-time would give us Monday through Friday 3 qualified individuals from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. is really the ideal for us. That we don't have open points in the schedule where we don't have 3 employees. So I look at those together. A good first step for us would be to have that 3rd employee. The best step would be to have that known coverage throughout the week for us and for Plymouth Township residents and businesses.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you for your,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Yeah, it's going to increase healthcare too. Getting up there, yeah. Yeah, I think these are about 30. It depends if it's single or family.
Harborville's up.
Ready for us?
Yes.
We'll just give you a little score update. Still 3-1, top of the 4th. I was very surprised that I didn't get an email today requesting to bump this back a day or two, but
Kept
Saying
looking
club
for
being
it.
We
professional.
will,
Club being professional, John.
very, very surprised. But
1, 2
all
count
good,
Thomas
all
Blake.
good.
Thomas that.
I don't want to.
Nola still.
Apologize, Mike. We have a fire call down the street, so Mike had to run out. It's 5 months.
Thank you.
Here you go, Nick. Thank you. Chris.
So first, I'd like to start off with thank you guys for having us today. We obviously always appreciate you guys' unwavering support of Harborville Fire Company, and obviously we wouldn't be able to support the services we provide without you guys. So appreciate that. Everybody knows Dave. Dave's the head of the trustees. Like I said, Mike, the president, had to run out to go to a fire call. But just wanted to kind of keep it sweet and short with you guys, kind of go over any questions you had with the proposed budget, and kind of just this sheet that was just handed out to you guys. Kind of just give a brief overview. Calls are just up every year. Last year was another record-setting year for us at 775 fire calls. Year before was 710. Year prior, 655, 594. This year, we're at 655, on pace to set another record-breaking year, all while being a combination career and volunteer fire service. So definitely speaking to a lot of Jack's and Frank's points, it's hard. We do our best with what we have, and I believe that we supply a professional and great service to our township residents with what we have. So just going to go over real quick some things that we were kind of looking for increases for this year were for our SAFER program that is expiring. If you guys were aware, we were awarded a SAFER grant, which is the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response grant 4 years ago for the sum of $380,000. What that grant was able to do for Harborville Fire Company, and changed our response model, where we went to a in-station staffing at nighttime from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. to ensure adequate, fast response to emergencies throughout the township. That has actually increased, or actually decreased, our response time drastically over the last 4 years, from an average of about a 5.5-minute response time when it was normal home response, to in-station staffing of almost about, I would say, an average of 3 minutes out the door and en route to somebody's emergency when they call 911. And that has decreased the on-scene response time as well. So over 4 years, we've just been getting better, but average is about 7.5, 8 minutes to an average on-scene response time, which drastically has changed from 10 minutes. So obviously, when anybody has to call for our services, it is usually their worst day, and we want to make sure we get a prompt response in time. And fire only gets worse every minute that you delay a response, and we've been able to shave off 3 minutes in 4 years for response time, which is commendable, and that is largely in part to the SAFER grant. I know I mentioned it in previous budget meetings and ESB board meetings that this is the final year for that SAFER grant. So we're looking, that's kind of our big ticket item, would be to fund that for people in the firehouse Monday through Sunday, 7 nights a week, 365 days a year, or 365 days a year. So that's really one of our big items we're looking here, is the increase in that, and I'll have Dave kind of speak to some of those numbers. And really, that's about it for us.
John, on this page, can I just ask you, this does
Sure.
say there's 2, you're hoping to have 2 career
So in the
career
budget,
part-timers turned to full-timers?
it's a wish list. Right now, we have
So that'd
3
be 5?
full-timers. No, we have 3 full-timers.
Right.
Harmville takes out of our own budget to staff an additional part-timer. So that's not township allocated funds for career staff. We have decided that that is a priority for us during the daytime, is to staff that additional part-timer. If you remember, probably, I guess, about 6-7 years ago, the township allocated an additional full-timer for us. What that did throughout the township was to ensure staffing of 2 firefighters on every fire apparatus that responded out of each station in the township. So ensured that we had 2 at our Plymouth Valley station, 2 at our Butler Pike station, and 2 coming out of Plymouth on Cobble Lane. So we're just looking for that increase. That is a wish. That is not obviously anything that really has to happen.
What is that? What is that wish for?
To make that part-timer a full-time career position. So what we're looking for, we don't need additional funds, but we need the benefits covered by the township. So that would be an increase in the benefit package for that,
For one person?
for one person. That's just one person. So that would eliminate our part-time position. I'll tell you, getting part-timers to work is hard, very hard. Everybody works Monday through Friday, and it is tough to staff that position all the time. So some days we're at 3. And some of you guys know we've had some medical problems with one of our full-time career staff members. He's been out. Sometimes we've been at 2. So if we can increase that staffing to 4 full-timers, that would just be a benefit during the daytime. So
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be
That's
down,
good.
but, so there's one part-timer that'll be replaced by a full-timer?
Yes.
So that person, it's the difference between the 2 salaries plus benefits,
Yep.
right? And then adding another full-timer?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Just the additional
Okay.
part-timer would become a full-time, and then the township would need to help with the benefit package for that.
I understand.
So
Thank
just for the benefits.
Not the salary.
Not salary.
Salary.
The salary's already allocated in our budget. So we already take care of that now because we staff that part-time position out of our allocated budget.
So you're just asking for benefits for
Correct.
For one
someone to
person.
become part-time, for one person?
Full-
Become full-time?
To become full-time. Oh, I'm sorry, that's.
Yes.
what I meant.
Yep, that's
To
it.
go from part-time to
I
full-time.
just
Yep.
wanted to clarify what that was asking.
Yep, that's all that ask is there.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I'll have Dave run through the line item budget for you guys, if you guys have any questions.
Ready?
Ready?
All right. As John hit, our big ticket is that stipend. So that's going to be a big chunk of the proposed allocation from you guys. That's four guys a night, all you 365. That's an additional 73,000. That's the big chunk that we're looking for. Everything else is pretty much the same as last year and the previous years. Other than that, is there any questions on the revenue or expenditures form of that? I just wanted to hit on that, why it was increased so much from last year. If not, we can move on to our capital expenditures if you guys would. All right. Capital for 2024, obviously, there's been talks and plans about the Station 2 replacement, so that's in there. Hopefully we can get that moving forward. We're still in talks with the architect on different ways and the engineering for our current site where we're at now on 904 Germantown. And then, the other ticket item is just some blacktop repairs that we have at our main station, and then the seal coating of that station. There's some spots, some low spots going there, so we're going to have to do some digging out repairs there. 5 and 10 year plan are pretty self-explanatory. It's just upgrades to our main station because hopefully Station 2 will be brand new and there won't be needed, in the future. So, any questions on the capital? No. Cool.
Is there a,
Go.
I'm sorry, maybe
There you
you
go.
said this, I'm trying to read in, listen. The improvements for Station 2, somewhere between $500,000 and 4.5.
So that's all going to depend if we do move forth with this new station. It's all about funding. So if the funding's not there, then we're going to be putting a Band-Aid on it.
Is there a latest and greatest?
So latest and
cost
greatest
estimate on
update,
that?
I just got one today, and it's at 4.7.
Wow.
So that was today.
Let me just change this to 4 point.
Yeah, change that on there.
That literally just came back
Just
to
do
us
5.
at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
And that was for modified at the current location?
That was knock down, rebuild, 1 story
Rebuild.
at the current location
With the drive-through.
with drive-through
Drive-through,
bays.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's also
Relocating the basketball
relocating
courts,
the
just like
basketball
what was discussed prior, all that kind of soft costs, which we're trying to avoid, but, you know,
And
Yeah.
we're going to have to inherit the soft costs. so.
Our last meeting we had,
Those
you know, we,
legalese things.
Yeah.
Really
Not
is.
legalese, but technically.
No, it's understandable, you know.
our last meeting, we really chopped down, you know, wants and needs, and, you know, it's going to be your basic fire station. Next, just, were there any questions on the balance or the P&L sheet?
Yeah, quickly, is that debt service payable, the $220,000, is that the outstanding balance, or is that just per year?
I can double check with our accounting agency, but I'm pretty sure that is the outstanding
Okay.
balance for
Where is that?
the rescue truck.
Just right here?
The debt service.
Balance sheet.
Yeah,
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 that's-
I believe that's the outstanding.
that,
Okay.
for the rescue truck, yeah.
got it.
Because that was, we took out a 15-year loan on that at like 3%.
Okay, I think I remember that now.
And then last would be the apparatus replacement plan, which John can touch on for you guys and go.
Yep, I know you guys have requested a joint apparatus replacement plan, so Chief Laniak and I sat down, went over the apparatus replacement plans for each company, put that together for you guys with estimated and projected prices. As you can see, like Jack said, everything is not cheap at all. So those are estimated with pretty good numbers as of today, but you know, next year that will change, year after that will change, and so on and so forth. So right now, that's estimated pricing. And just to point out, as Plymouth has reduced their fleet, we are also reducing our fleet with the anticipation of delivery of our new engine coming in around May. We are going to decrease our apparatus from a Quint, which is an engine and a ladder, and an engine to just the engine out of our main station on Weather Pike, which will not have no effect onto any services we provide.
Questions?
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We are ambulance, right?
Plymouth Ambulance. Some new faces. Tom Trajanski, Chief of Plymouth Ambulance. I remember you, and I know your $1 million question, you always ask at the end what do you want, but I'll throw it out front. So you can hear EMS, fire, police, everybody's heard. Finances, funding. The big thing, the big topic is employees, right? Whether you have volunteers or career staff. Both fire companies discuss the career staff issues. It's only to make the community a better place to either reside in or visit, right? And ultimately, the board's decision for oversight is the benefit to health and safety of the community, right? So, since we're not a true entity of Plymouth Township, we thank you for the increase last year, and we ask for if you can continue the increase along with the fuel costs that you had provided last year. I can tell you that Plymouth Ambulance responded to 142 calls short of 16,000 dispatches last year. We employ a little over 75 people. That fluctuates between 94 to 68 in that neighborhood. That's both career staff, part-time and full-time employees, paramedics and EMTs. We have 12 ambulances. There's some new people on the board, so this is kind of the same spiel that I've been given since 2006 every year. Karen's probably tired of it. But 12 ambulances, 4 medic responder units, a few officer vehicles, some ancillary support vehicles such as a 6-wheel, 2 5-ton trucks that we purchased for high water rescue. That should be completed before Christmas. We have 4 stations. Plymouth Ambulance, the main station, which was always the number 1 station, which is at 902 Germantown Pike. Our A station, which is at 204 East Main Street in Norristown. Our B station, which sits up right at Burnside in Germantown. And our C station, which sits at 53 Springmount Road in Schwenksville, Borough. We cover approximately 76 square miles. Most of the interchange down here, northeast extension up to Lansdale, and then from DeKalb Pike down to the Mid-County, both north and south on the Blue Route here from Conshohocken up. Large infrastructure that we cover. I think it's 106,000 permanent residents. Do you want to hit me with your question?
Well, I don't know that I really have one for you, but I guess same thing. Like, what is it that's big? What's different this year?
Well, anything for funding for employees, right? Paramedics and EMTs are very, very hard to come across. Nobody that goes into the business has not been going into the business for many years. There's been a shortage when I became a medic back in '90, working for Montgomery Hospital. We had a little bit of a shortage back then, and it's just grown exponentially over the years until where we are now, right? And a lot of that is due to pay. So you had both fire departments up here speaking about pay. Different organizations pay more than what Plymouth or Harmonville pay, but it is a numbers game. Everybody knows that, and also you guys know that, and girls. If somebody's going to pay you more, you're going somewhere else for that job, right? So that hasn't really been the foresight of EMS for 20 years or so. So it was more a volunteer-based system, sort of like the fire departments are. And then about 15, 20 years ago, it started to transition over to somewhat career staff, volunteer supplemented by career, and that did a complete 180 where it's pretty much all career staff now. We keep our stations staffed all the time. We run about a 99% hit rate where all our stations are staffed 24/7. There's sometimes when we drop a status on a station because you have a last-minute call out and your pool to pull people from is just not there. So I know, Karen, you received something in the mail and you sent it out. Also, the county has gone with a third-party vendor to look at the longevity of EMS in Montgomery County, let alone the state of Pennsylvania, where there was they should have been looking at this more years ago, well over 20 years ago, because in my interpretation is you can throw as much money as you want at this situation with EMS. There's just not enough people in the field. And there's speculation and there's talk that, even if you started not Plymouth Township, but the state of Pennsylvania started a major campaign to hire or to educate paramedics and EMTs, you wouldn't see the benefits of that until 5 or 6 years out. So what you have is a aging system. You don't have people coming in. You have a lot of people leaving it because, like myself and the chief sitting back there, we're coming to that age group where we don't want to be involved, and there's really nobody else to fall in. Like I always say, that shark teeth. If a tooth falls out, the next tooth is there. Those teeth are becoming minimal anymore. So what you do is, you throw money at a situation, but that's not the end-all, be-all. So the state, the county of Montgomery is looking into this. How do you produce this longevity for EMS, for paramedics and EMTs, and what's the best way to fund it? Do townships, putting a large tax on, I don't want to say large, but $100 tax on each household. The government's obviously not helping out. They're not helping out fire EMS. So, it's a system that I have no answer for. I can tell you that, but the organization itself, you see the bottom lines for our numbers. If we didn't have the fund drives and the township appropriations, we wouldn't be doing so well.
So you have 4 stations?
4 stations.
Plymouth, Norristown, is that East
East
Norriton?
Norriton, yep,
And
and
Schwenksville.
Yeah.
Do the other 3 contribute also?
Yes, they do.
Okay, good.
In the handout that was at your place tonight, on page 1 of 6, you'll see the other townships here listed. But it was at your place, you didn't have it over the weekend to look at.
Sorry. for
No,
asking
no.
questions.
Quite all right.
That's
Ask
in
whatever you
writing.
want.
Yeah.
We're very transparent.
Yeah, that was at your spot tonight.
apologize.
Plymouth, Norristown, East Norriton, and Schweinsville. Those are the locations.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's make
That's
sure.
four staff.
Okay.
And you have full-timers at each station or no?
Yes, all the time, 24/7. We have a volunteer pool of approximately 13 people. It used to be the opposite way. It would be 75 or so volunteers, and you'd have 5 or 6 part-time paramedics or EMTs. And Darren's very well in tune with that, with her family being involved years ago. But,
First employee ever.
yeah. Yeah. So, anything that you can help Plymouth Ambulance out, we're grateful. The adage is that, EMS can bill. That's why the townships don't throw a lot of money. I hear that all the time. I've heard it for the last 20 years, going to different township meetings. Yeah, we can bill, but if you have no insurance, you don't get blood from a stone. What can I help you out with? I'm trying to keep it short so everybody knows what the score is, I think.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else?
Your
No,
support and
I'll
anything
take a
else you
look
can
at
do,
this.
we would like to, we'll thank you in advance for it.
So, Karen, can I just ask, the document that you handed out today, like where it says township appropriations, and you
Mhm.
see like Shanksville, Perkiomen, so those are what other townships are contributing?
Correct. There
Yes.
should be Upper Frederick, and they're all different numbers.
Okay.
Lower Frederick is a very large contributor, along with you guys. Those two townships are very big. They have a millage, which I think we receive 0.22%, or 0.22 millage. A lot of other townships, they don't see the value, I guess, in EMS. We try to talk some sense into them, but at some point, when you're waiting 15, 20 minutes for an ambulance, and you have a serious medical injury, that's when people start to wake up. So, yeah, we get the township appropriations from Plymouth, Norristown, East Norriton, West Norriton. Schwanksville is very, very minimal because they're bankrupt. Upper Frederick, Lower Frederick, a little bit from Perkiomen Township, Upper Salford. Any questions?
I did not.
Anyone? Did that answer?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Oh, who was the township that had millage appropriated?
Lower
Lower
Frederick.
Frederick,
This one, because they got the
0.22
$52,000, that's.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're a very small town, too. That's where one of our
Who is Lower Frederick? What's a town in Lower Frederick?
well, Schwanksville is the actual area. Like Limerick is actually a Schwanksville mailing address, but the true proper is you have Schwanksville Borough, which is right there, 29 and 73, a little bit down the road from Otts. You have
Lower Frederick
Springmount.
is Limerick, is that?
No, Lower Frederick Township is. Are you familiar with Springmount, the ski area?
Yes.
That actually sits right across the line in Upper Salford Township.
Okay.
But that's Lower Frederick Township is a very small
I
area.
was just trying to place it geographically.
Yeah. St. Mary's Church is up there right off of,
School district, is that Perkiomen Valley?
that's Perk Valley, yeah, a little bit up the way is Boyertown. Yep. Fireside have anything? Any questions? No? Thank you. And we're non-union, by the way, we've never been union, people like working. What's that?
You got one big operation there.
It is, thank you. It is a
I
big
mean-
operation. I think we're one of the largest,
You've done quite a job.
yeah, it's been a.
Hats off to you.
Thank you.
Did you have to respond to that horrible jet fuel fire on?
My guys and girls did. I was not there. I couldn't get there. Yeah, they were up there from about 11:45 to 6:15 last.
It was shut down most of the day.
Yep. Yeah. So that area is part of Plymouth Ambulance's coverage territory, along with the mid-county down there and all those other good things.
All right. Thank
Have
you,
a good
sir.
night.
Appreciate
and,
it.
Let's go Schwarber, right? Thank you. Have a good
Gentlemen,
night.
we're going to take our leave, if you don't mind, unless there's any other questions.
Free to go.
Free to go. Karen?
Unless you want to offer Chris any moral support.
Thank you.
Yourself on it, son?
Yeah, I'm sure I have comments.
Somewhere in your phone. This is what it is.
Yes, you're welcome.
For now. For now.
Yep.
That's for one. Fast.
Out of Chase Fields.
So you can take your time.
6-2, is that where we're going? Page 6-2?
For
6-1.
6-1.
Well, the one thing about our budget is that there's really no dramatic increases or changes from the last year's budget to this year's budget. You'll see that there's some contractual increases with our ASME guys. We do have 11 men now versus 10. But besides the contractual increases and the recycling costs are really the two sticking things that'll stick out at you with the budget. The recycling market is quite volatile, and we're actually paying about almost exactly what we're paying to dispose of trash is what we're paying for recycling. So every ton of recycling is about $63 to dispose of. So at one point we were making $12 a ton. Now we're paying $63 a ton.
Wow. It costs as much to recycle, get rid of recyclables as it does to get rid of trash.
So basically our
It's not very inspiring
No,
for
for all that work, yeah.
It's really
And
cheap to
separate
throw it
collections.
out, to be honest. And the glass
Cheaper to send
market,
it to
there is
Covanta?
zero glass market. There
Really?
never has been. So that's the heaviest thing in our recycle bin. So really the way it works is we take our material to Republic in King of Prussia. There's a $105 tip fee, and then we get whatever the market bears, we'll get that. And so subtract one from the other, and that's what we're left with, which is right now about $63. And it is going like this. We're right down on the lowest end of that right now.
So trash disposal is $65 a ton, and recycle disposal is how much a ton?
63.
Doesn't say.
It's been as
You don't
high
get
as
anything
70.
back anymore for like cardboard or metal, none of that, right?
The metal market, the aluminum market has always been pretty good.
Is that still
But
good?
the plastic is, kind of all over the place. Paper the same. It's all supply and demand. They need it. You get more for it. They don't. A lot of the stuff sits around. It's worthless. And I'm not sure, Kellen, the change in 2024. Did you? I know you said you made a notation because we do have 2 retirees coming in January, which the new hires coming into sanitation will be about 60% of what the retirees make. So you'll see a little difference there as well, to the good.
So Chris, if I'm understanding, in 2023, you budgeted $20K for recycling, but it's already cost $52 to date. I mean, that's a really dramatic difference from
It
what we
is.
expected when it is. right?
Yeah,
So
we
that's
expected.
what you're
We
pointing
expected to
out.
get some money, from it or not pay as much, and here we are paying
It'll be
more than
like
we
triple
thought.
by the time it is over.
And the
Exactly.
market totally turned around.
Yeah.
And were you just talking about, was that your full-time AFSCME that you said?
Full-time ASME. So we have two folks in highway that'll be retiring. So the way it'll work is 2 of our existing employees will take the highway job, and 2 young new employees at making 60% of what basically.
So is that coupled with the existing employees' increases, is that going to result in a negative increase, or is what's on here accurate?
Overall, so this is sanitation. I think the 2 you're referring to
Like
are
the highway
actual
budgets.
highway.
The highway budget will go down.
So the highway budget would go down overall.
I got you. Thank you.
It'll all roll together in
Yeah.
Public Works. but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, the whole budget is pretty unremarkable when it comes to numbers. You'll see in administration, the full-time civilian the change is 72,000. One of the existing code enforcement officers is going to come on my side and offer assistance as the sewer person. For the last 3 years, I've been going at it alone. We used to have a public works foreman and a sewer person. I've been doing it myself for the last 3 years. So that's where you'll see what the change there. Other than that, it's pretty much status quo.
That's not an extra head count. That person's coming from another department.
Right, it's like
That's
just
why
a
I
shift.
And taking the sewer duties with them
Yeah.
back to Public Works.
It's really unremarkable.
Road and bridge maintenance, again, when you see the full-time ASME, that's kind of where the salaries go, and that basically is where they work the majority of the time, or a percentage of the time is where that number comes from, as far as the budget. And pretty much we're just holding the line. Any questions so far? And again, we can go down to storm sewer maintenance, street sign and marking, street cleaning. Basically, we're just holding the line.
We just take like the same 6 guys and break up their time into all these different topics, like whatever they're doing that day, they kind of code to the payroll. There's
Going over to 6-4, again, part of our programs, branch and chip program, leaf collection has just started last week. Composting, again, we're holding the line or actually decreasing the line in some respects. Maintenance and
Well,
repair.
how is that? What is, people are putting out less, or people?
It's just, we're kind of backing into numbers because we really don't
Yeah.
know where we're going to spend the majority of our time. Sometimes, we have a lot of composting. Sometimes we have more branch and chip, depending on the storms. So, we might extend that for a couple of weeks or do a mass chipping event, if the storm came through. So it all varies,
Yes.
how much time, where we spend most of our time.
So what I do is I get all the Ask Me guys, pay for the year, the total of it, and then just divide it out to what seems appropriate for each of the like branch and shipping, road and bridge maintenance, composting, and then you'll see in the highway aid fund as well. Just trying to get those numbers to where they've been in the past. So it's just an allocation, but all the money is correctly allocated. I'm sorry, the total money is there. It's just going different allocation.
Wait, 6 highway guys, Chris?
I'm sorry?
6 highway guys?
6 highway guys, there's 4 mechanics and 11 sanitation.
Yeah, but the 11 sanitation are all in sanitation, right?
Yep,
So
That's right.
the other guys' time is just broken up. The mechanics are probably in this maintenance and repair.
Yeah, the mechanics are in this
Public Works.
one, and I believe there's something in highway aid for them as well,
Right.
I believe.
It's the 6 guys.
Mhm.
Well, people on
Salaries.
Ross Street are going to be happy that they're getting paid.
Right.
I think it needs it.
Any questions?
This is all your
Where's
district
Public Works?
streets.
Chris, thanks for always presenting us with a very workable and fair budget. Appreciate it.
I'm fortunate, I sit on the president of the Montgomery County Public Works Association, and it always gives me a pleasure to boast about Plymouth Township and how we do things. I think, Karen and I were talking, she just, said something about, we were talking about kind of how we do things, and when you kind of put it on the paper, you realize that Plymouth Township does more than anybody.
Yeah, local township was saying, how much do you add on to your tax bill for trash collection?
Right.
Because nothing. It was great. And we provide this.
And how many
this,
thank
this,
you
this,
notes
this.
do they all get?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. You guys were racking them up.
Is it common for municipalities to do this street paving schedule like we do, or is that sort of out of the norm?
It varies. Some, they actually do, like we do, but some do it themselves. Some have the manpower and the wherewithal to be able to do that, but it just makes sense. I mean, we've been having Glasgow for the last 12 or the last 15 years, I guess, and they're just phenomenal. The prices that they give us just blows everyone away.
They win the
just
bid
don't-
every year.
I had a question in one of my classes about roads, state roads, which ones are state, which ones are township ones. I said,
County.
you know, the ones that are the township roads in Plymouth are the ones that are in the best shape. That's how you can tell.
On page 6, entry, Public Works budget, capital road plans. I was so glad to see the development, and so brokenhearted to see my road excluded.
It's what?
My one street's the only one excluded.
It should be.
Did I
on there.
hurt your feelings? No,
It
I'm
should be.
kidding. It should, maybe you've got it under Shasta, but it's
Yeah,
Kings.
that's what it is,
I was just looking and I thought,
No, it'll be done.
our 2 blocks are only the ones not being done. It's a punishment.
Any other questions for Chris? We're going to Highway 8. 12-1.
Yep, so the first page is, this is what we get, or this is what the estimate is for next year for the liquid fuels money that we get in from the state. I think it's so many mileage, it's about how many miles of road.
Yeah, it's based on mileage and population calculation that's done.
So it's pretty similar each year.
Really, where we spend most of the Highway 8 is snow, is where most of it falls. Depending on the kind of winter, like last year, we didn't have much snow at all. So it's either going to fall, the main thing is snow, or it could be used for, if we don't have a significant winter, we can use it for paving. But anything within the right-of-way, we can use Highway 8 for. It's earmarked for just that. So street cleaning comes out of Highway 8. Street paving comes out of Highway 8. Snow plowing comes out of Highway 8. So all the overtime that you see that from snow plowing is all through Highway 8.
This Butler Pike, that's county road.
That's a county road. Little section of.
Your salt and everything else.
Because I saw a street sweeper a week ago, and I was like, I think I've ever seen that.
He might have just been passing through. He probably didn't have the brush down.
They were down and spinning.
Right.
There's no curbing, so they're not really cleaning anything. It's mowed in the yard and window blower back in the road.
Anything else? Highway 8? Good. Questions? All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yeah.
4-1, yes, that's good.
4-1.
4-1.
It's a sign, right?
Is that still the school?
Yes.
I mean, I know we're on page 4 but
That's right, one swing of the bat.
Yeah, one swing, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Load the bases and swing.
All right, good evening. Aside from the wage accounts of sections 4101 and 4140, the submitted budget increased by about $98,000 over last year. So some of the accounts where you may notice a significant increase would be, and of course if you see any others that you have any questions about, but 4242, which is kennel expenditures, it shows that it went up by 81.25%. It was about an extra $6,500. The reason for that was emergency vet bills. The standard contract that we renew annually with Penn Vet no longer provides sufficient coverage for emergency care, predominantly emergency surgeries. So we found that we were spending thousands of emergency care in excess of what we had budgeted. That's the reason for that increase. One of the other sections that you might see a significant increase as 100%. It's a $10,000 increases in furniture and fixtures. And that was pretty much for some of while the police department, we don't require much in the way of furnishings. Once this construction is completed, there are a few areas that will need that. We have constructed a new interview room, and we're trying to make it victim-friendly interview room. For children, in the past, we've had to put kids in our dispatch center with our dispatcher, and we shouldn't be doing that to distract them, and it's not a suitable place for the kids, victims of physical, sexual crimes. So there's just a few things there that we're going to need to outfit, as well as the sergeant's office. The 5 sergeants are in that office, and when their desks were and filing cabinets were taken apart, I have very little confidence that they're going to be able to put back together. So that in the squad room, just for some files and workstations. So that's why that increased. One of the other areas was 4274, which is communications equipment. Because county radio continues to force us to rely on our self-dispatching capabilities, we need to ensure that our officers can adequately communicate with Plymouth Dispatch. So what we tried to do, or well, what we do plan on doing, is instead of putting mobile township radios in the cars to keep up with them, they're about twice as expensive as portables, which you would need regardless. So what we decided to do was continue just buying portables, not buying the mobiles, and then buying a $100 charger that can be put in the car, and our mechanics are able to do that. And that way, it can be left on in the car for the radio, and that can be taken out with them. But that to get that equipment, that accounted for the $6,000 increase you might see there. Another area where there was a fairly significant increase would be 4450, which is civil service expenditures. That went up by almost 40%. The 2 areas that account for that increase was to bring our solicitor fees in line with what we've been getting charged. It's been a few thousand more than what we had been prepared for. And then this is something that I'm looking to do. We continue to search for ways to attract both diverse and marginalized candidates into our testing process. I've pretty much done everything I can think about so far. The one thing that's left that I've seen a few departments start to play around with, I think Abington and Upper Merion, to attract a greater number of those people, is to eliminate the testing fee. But to eliminate the testing fee, which is, people are charging anywhere from $60 to about $40. The test itself costs about $25. That would be our cost for it. What I'm looking to do is not charge them and to eat that cost. So for this year, it might not even be an issue. That money, if it was approved, might come right back to the township if we don't give a test. If we don't get, I had it budgeted for about 200 applicants. If we got half that money would come back. But I'm trying to find a way to attract people that might not be able to afford it or might not be willing to put out the money to take the test, even if they could afford it. But that's what that portion of the increase is. And then usually I talk about the vehicle purchases. That went up by 18%. We're asking for 3 vehicles, again, to keep up with what we needed. We do that in consultation with our township mechanics to ask how many they think, what type they think. We've actually, as of last year, moved away from the Fords that don't even make police packages to the Chevys. They're going down way too often, and they have to be sent out to the dealerships. They're things that our mechanics can't or shouldn't handle because they should be under warranty still. I mean, things like the engine going out after a month or 2 on the road. I mean, things that just should not be happening. So the new ones are the Chevy Tahoes that we've moved toward at the recommendation of our mechanics, which we were in agreement with. But there is an upsurge in vehicle pricing. That's the reason that increased. Those were the only ones that I thought were notable, but if there's anything else there that anyone has a question on,
So the vehicle purchases are 3 new vehicles?
that's what I was asking for,
The
yes.
Chevy Tahoes, so 164.
Yes.
3 of them.
Actually, it'll probably be 2 Chevy Tahoes and 1 unmarked car. I try and avoid doing the unmarked cars too often, but every 4 or 5 years, it's time to get a new one of those. So that won't be as large of a vehicle. It won't need to be, and it won't need the paint, and it won't need the lighting and so forth. So it'll be a cheaper buy. Any other questions or concerns? Anything I can help with? I did my part. I did my part for the
You
film.
did, yes, you did.
Thank you.
Well, let's hope they do their part.
I hope so.
Can I
Thanks,
ask
John.
just one quick question?
Yeah, sure.
So are the vehicles that you'd want to get rid of worthy of handing down anywhere? Are they like?
I've already talked with Karen, we always talk every
Since
year.
last week.
And then we let her know which ones. In this case, I think one of them's a K-9 car. It won't last for us. Well, we cleaned it out. It won't last for us because we have to keep it on constantly. Because even when the officer's not driving, if the dog is in the car, the heat's got to be on it, the air conditioning. But for use elsewhere, it serves its purpose.
Well, yeah, the group was here last week, said, you know, they have one, they've had it detailed 3 times, they have deodorizer cakes in there, and it still smells like dog. So that might not be, while the vehicle might have some
Right.
value, I don't know that it's fair to give to another department. But there is another one you had on your
Right,
list, and you never know what else happens throughout the year.
And we do that
Um,
also with the mechanics. We
Yeah,
talk with them, what do they recommend?
Take Ron's opinion as
Yeah.
far as what they agree with, what they need to replace based on the car.
So the doggy car will charitable donation to the
Well, we sell them,
I know.
we'll sell it, and they'll probably get good money because used cars are like, it might be 4 or 5 years old. It's not super old, it probably got, like you say, has engine hours on it, but not miles. And
Yeah, the rest
somebody
is-
will buy it and we'll get good money for it.
Yeah, we usually do pretty good.
Yeah, they do really good on they do really well on Municipid. So, much better that we used to take things to an auction.
No, we get good money
Yeah,
on that.
auction was not a good deal. We didn't get much money for stuff. All right.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do something about it.
I send my wife to bed because she's bad luck. Last night she went up, or the last game, she went up, as she was going up, they hit one home run. And by the time she got up there, the next batter hit a home run.
Text her now.
She knows better already, so.
My kids had banned me from turning the TV on. For 2 weeks, I've had a run of bad luck. They're like, don't even touch it.
we'll have to do our part, whatever it takes.
I know, I probably shouldn't have worn the scarf, right? I don't know. Good night, John. Thank you.
It's the most superstitious sport.
Yeah, I know.
But it works.
Philadelphians, I think, are really superstitious.
I am.
All right, you have one escrow release,
Now I have all these papers other places I can't find where I put it.
fingers, wings, and other things.
And me. What?
You want to read that, Ms. Bandish?
Where did it go?
There's a big W on the front of it. There you go.
Yes, I have a letter here from Woodrow and Associates indicating that the original value of financial security was $171,231.50. Total completed this release, $100,188. Balance to finish, $71,4350. So I'm making a motion that we do what is recommended, release $100,188.00.
Second.
There's a motion from Ms. Bandish. Is there a second? There's a second from Ms. Bramlett. Comments or questions from council? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Vizio?
In favor.
Ms. Bramlett?
In favor.
Ms. Bandish?
In favor.
The chair votes in favor.
My son-in-law thinks that every time we do anything that helps them out, we should get a kickback, but something.
Sorry.
All the fingers, wings, and everything.
Why? Yeah.
Miscellaneous?
Nobody's allowed.
All right.